Welcome back to the Sage Audio channel. Today we wanted to showcase some mastering techniques that you should try in 2021. This list will be a little unique in that 3 of the techniques you should try because they'll make your masters sound better, and 1 you should try to simply understand why it doesn't work and should be avoided. We'll explain each technique in detail, show you how you can accomplish them, and then listen to each one of them. So if you could, subscribe to the channel, and stick around for the full video. But first, if you're an artist, engineer, or producer, and you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample of it. All you have to do is set up an account, upload the song, and we do the rest. So technique number 1 is balancing oversampling and look ahead to avoid clipping. When mastering, one big concern is clipping and clipping-related distortion. Clipping causes high-order harmonic distortion that doesn't sound too pleasant for one reason or another. That's why when we're limiting, it's a good idea to keep a close eye on the output. We might notice that although our regular channel meter isn't showing clipping, intersample clipping might occur. This is especially true if you're pushing a limiter harder than normal. For many, the obvious solution to this is to use true peak detection, and if you thought of this, you're definitely not wrong in doing so. But true peak detection can reduce the impact of your transients. By automatically shifting the amplitude of the output down whenever it would clip, that attenuation can have an unexpectedly negative effect on the timbre of your master. Now, if possible, you can use look ahead and oversampling to avoid clipping, but with a less noticeable change to your master's timbre. Granted, this won't work every time, since it simply may not be enough to avoid clipping, but if it does, then it's best to use look ahead and oversampling instead of true peak detection. Now keep in mind that if you increase look ahead too much, it will also affect the timbre of your master, so you definitely got to use your ears. Let's take a listen to this technique as well as true peak detection. Technique number 2 is automating saturation during the chorus. Sometimes the last chorus of a song needs a small push to make it stick out from the rest of the song. If the processing that you're using doesn't change, and the mixing engineer makes the last chorus the same as the others, then you might end up with a lackluster finale for your song. Now, fortunately, you can utilize automation to increase saturation or the gain of your limiter to add a little more excitement to that section. Now, I prefer to automate saturation since the extra harmonics fill out the sound and increase the low-level aspects of the signal. Extra limiting, on the other hand, will cause more brick wall compression and the artifacts that come along with it. Try this effect on a few different aspects of your signal chain and see what causes the most impact without being overdone or too noticeable. If you want these changes to be exact, use your typical read automation. But if you want the automation to be more of a performance, try the latch feature in your automation and let the track play as you automate your saturation, your limiting, or whatever effect you chose. Let's take a listen to it.
just see me now, you would believe it now. Clouds break and the sky spilling over. I'm coming clean in the water. You were just holding out. I think that you're good now. Go dive in and take back your power. We're coming clean in the water.
Number 3 is using an emphasis de-emphasis technique. An emphasis de-emphasis technique was developed to compensate for the loss of high frequencies on the inside of a vinyl record by boosting the high frequency range of a master that was sequenced towards the middle of a record. The frequency response would balance out in the end. This concept has since been used for great creative effect, as it lets us emphasize certain frequencies prior to them hitting a particular processor. For example, let's say we're using a saturation plugin, but we want to distort the mid-range a little more than the other frequencies. Now what we can do is add an equalizer before the saturator and boost the frequencies that we want to distort more. So with this equalizer, we are emphasizing the mid-frequencies. This means that when the signal hits the saturator, it's going to have to work harder on those frequencies, distorting them more, and in turn causing unique sounding distortion and compression. Now after the saturator, we'll add another equalizer that has the equal and opposite curve of the first EQ. This is our de-emphasis EQ. Now what this one does is balance out the frequency response so that the mids, or whatever it was that you chose to amplify, isn't too prevalent. Saturation isn't the only effect that you can use this with. Try it with a compressor, your maximizer, stereo imager, or any processor that you want to work a little harder on a particular set of frequencies. Let's take a listen to it.
Tell me, does it like it all? When you're left with the world all alone. Tell me, does the time slow down? Let it in, let it go on now. Feel a change, it's what it's all about. Tell me, does it all slow down? If you could just see me now, you would believe it now. Clouds break and the sky spilling over. I'm coming clean in the water. You were just holding out. I think that you're good now. Go dive in and take back your power. We're coming clean in the water.
Last up at number 4, we have crossover processing. Unlike the other entries on this list, this is one technique that you should try, but not because it sounds good. Essentially, crossover processing means that you break the signal up into 2 or more bands. Each band contains a range of frequencies, and collectively, they make up the full original frequency spectrum. In theory, this sounds great. It means that you could add one processor to one range and another to another range, but it isn't that simple. Let's look at the Meta plugin by DDMF to better understand this. The Meta plugin includes a plugin called Crossover, which breaks the signal up into 4 bands. These include a low band, a low mid band, a high mid band, and a high band. The outputs of these bands can be sent to different processors, so I could use a saturator on the low end, a compressor on the 2 mid bands, and an air EQ on the high frequencies. Again, in theory, this sounds amazing, since it would open up a lot of possibilities, but unfortunately, it almost always causes unwanted phase cancellation. Each band is going to have a crossover with the band or bands next to it. This crossover might be 12 dB per octave, as is the case with the crossover plugin, but other ones might differ. Now, if different forms of processing are being added to each band, small changes in the timing or small distortions to the waveform are going to cause phase shifts amongst the full signal in these crossover points. As a result, aspects of the signal are canceled out, which can lead to strange artifacts or an overall quieter sound. If we try to do this on our own, using multiple duplicated tracks and equalizers, it's easier to understand how this crossover affects the track's phase. By moving the crossover points around using our makeshift crossover, we can observe and monitor how the changes made cause more or less phase cancellation. In short, although this technique seems like it could really improve a master, odds are it'll result in more harm than good. Let's take a listen to it.
Tell me, does it like it at all? When you're left with the world all alone. Tell me, does the time slow down? Let it in, let it go on now. Feel a change, it's what it's all about. Tell me, does it all slow down? If you could just see, you would believe it now. Clouds break and the sky spilling over. Water, you were just holding out. Guiding now. Go down in and take back your power. We're coming clean in the water.
So, these are our thoughts on 4 advanced mastering techniques that you should try in 2021, but what do you think? Let us know in the comment section below. Also, if you're an artist or an engineer, send us one of your mixes at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample of it. All you have to do is set up an account, upload the song, and we'll do the rest. But thank you so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and share this video with your friends. This way we know if you'd like to see more videos like this one. Also, you can subscribe to the channel. We release new videos every week, and subscribing is the best way to stay up to date. There's a comment section where you can leave your thoughts on this video, or you can make a suggestion for a future video. And again, if you're an artist or an engineer and you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.